Hey, a few days ago, we talked with Bowie Baysox broadcaster Adam Pohl about the 2011 Frederick Keys and when they won the Carolina League Championship with Manny Machado and Jonathan Scope. Let's move forward a few years to the 2015 season. This is the last championship by an
Yes,
Orioles affiliate to this day. So obviously, we hope that's going to change in the future
we've been
sooner than
close.
later.
We've been close.
We've been close, but so far, the last team to win it all was the 2015 Bowie Baysox, who were an incredible blend of some older experienced guys who loved
Yes.
mentoring young and up and coming guys. And I remember doing an interview with Trey Mancini a couple of years ago, Adam, who said this was some of the best months of his baseball life. And he thanked guys like Brandon Snyder and Terry
Yes.
Doyle and names you might not think about who were so big on that team, not only playing well, but mentoring young guys who then Trey Mancini was one of them.
Undoubtedly. I mean, you think about the 2015 Bay Sox, and Trey Mancini was an 8th-round draft choice first baseman, and Mike Yastrzemski was a 14th round draft choice left fielder. I mean, there were a lot of guys that were a little bit under the radar that have gone on to become really good major league ball players. And Mancini stands out the most to me. You know, the team was a really good pitching team early. Michael Givens was in that bullpen. You know, he had a really good career with the Orioles still going, and Andrew Triggs has been a big league pitcher, but the team couldn't hit. You know, they were playing 500 ball. Brandon Snyder got signed out of indie ball after a month, and that really aided the team, and the team started winning. But when Mancini came in late May, oh my goodness. I mean, all of a sudden, this guy, he's an 8th-round pick. You know, I'm just being honest. He was a non-prospect. He was not on any prospect lists. You know, this is a guy that played a full season in Delmarva the year earlier and didn't hit a home run at home, you know, and he comes to us. And quite frankly, he was the best player in the league. I mean, easily, you know, he wasn't in the league long enough to earn, you know, the award of MVP, which I think he still should have won. But Mancini was a dominant player. And I remember people asking me, they said, Adam, well, do you really think this guy's going to be a major leaguer? And I'm like, well, you know what? The best player in this league last year was Mookie Betts. And he's a pretty good player that, you know, in the major leagues. So if you're the best player in the Eastern League, now the AA Northeast League, you're probably going to be one heck of a major leaguer. And Mancini was that, in my opinion, in 2015.
And that team with Yaz and Mancini, Francisco was there late.
Yep.
Drew Dosh, Corbin Joseph, Caleb's brother. You mentioned bullpen guys who were there. You get Joe Gunkel and Eli Villanueva.
Yeah,
guys who made
Eli.
starts. You know,
Yep.
these are great names. Brandon Klein got a little bit of time with that team. Dylan Bundy, very little bit of time. In the
Yep.
playoffs, the Bay Sox lost to game 1 to Altoona,
That's
won 3
right.
straight to advance to the championship against Reading. And we're down 2-1 in a best of 5. Got to
Correct.
win 2 in a row at home. And not only did the Bay Sox win, they won big, 9-1 and 7-2. David Hess pitched a gem in game 4.
He
Now, Adam,
did.
here's a story that I want to hear your take on your remembrance. And we
Yes.
didn't know this till after the Bay Sox won it. And Gary Kendall revealed that after the 3rd game, when Reading took a 2-1 lead, for some crazy reason, known only to the Reading Phillies to this day, they asked the Bay Sox, do you guys have like some champagne in case you win? And can we buy that from you? Because now we're close to winning this thing. And what? And that didn't work out.
It's pretty, you know, to be honest, it's pretty standard that the team, you know, the team that is home is going to buy the champagne per se for the opposing team or for the team that wins. So the Bay Sox had to go out and buy a ton of champagne, you know, for Reading to get ready for game 4. Reading was the favorite. Their general manager at the time was a guy named Ruben Amaro. They were the best team in our league for the majority of that year. And then that was the year they traded everybody. So they got a bunch of AA prospects. And when they made the trade, Ruben Amaro called their manager and said, congrats on winning the Eastern League Championship. So they thought it was a coronation, but the Bay Sox were the 2nd best team of the regular season. And you're right, the beer that was and champagne that was in the Reading clubhouse, it stayed down there, for when Game 5 was about to start, and then it was a lot of fun to just kind of roll it around when the Baysox were about to win the championship. So there's no doubt somebody was going to celebrate it with it, and I'm glad it was us.
The celebration after the Baysox won Game 5 was incredible.
Mhm.
The 2 nights in Bowie were incredible. The crowds were big, loud, enthusiastic. It was so great to see. The players performed so great in the clutch. Gary Kendall gave Bowie, to this day, its only championship in the history of the Baysox, which, as you know, is a great franchise, that their fans deserve that.
Yes.
And I think the celebration just ended like a week ago. I mean, that thing was out of
I'll
control.
tell you 2 things about the playoff that stand out to me. In the first round, I talked about how great the Baysox bullpen was. I mean, it was unbelievable. The Baysox did not lose. This is a 140 game regular season. They won almost 80 games. The Baysox did not lose a game in which they had the lead after 8 innings all year. So here they go, opening of the playoffs in Altoona, and Bowie gets out to a 7-0 lead in the second inning. It's 7-5 going into the 9th, and Altoona gets 3 in the bottom of the 9th. Austin Meadows, now with Tampa, hit the game-winning hit, a ball off the wall to drive home the winning run. And they, the Curve acted like, here we go. Like, we're going to win this thing. This is amazing. So we're getting off the bus Game 2, and our hitting coach, Keith Bodie, a veteran, right? Tough guy, gets up. And there were a few words I'm not going to say here that were a part of his little thing. He goes, but he basically said, I hope those you-know-whats had fun last night, because they ain't winning another game this year. And the Baysox outscored Altoona 21-3 the last 3 games. And David Hess started the Game 3. And Bowie won 3-0. He pitched a shutout effort. You mentioned it. Game 4, the Baysox are down 2-1, and Hess was dominant. Bowie blows out Reading in Game 4. And then, the guy everyone thinks about, Caleb Joseph, longtime Oriole, but Garabez Rosa is the guy that played more games for the Baysox than any player in the history of the franchise. He also has the most hits. He hit 5 home runs all year, and then he hit 2 homers in Game 5 to win MVP and win the title. So it's kind of wild that Bowie's won 1 championship, and the player that wore their jersey more than any other player in the 3-decade history of the franchise was the star of that pivotal game.
Awesome. Such great veterans. We mentioned a couple of them. Quincy Lattimore is another great name for the team, who had a big year and some big hits in the postseason, man. And that was just so much fun in Bowie. Gary Kendall, Kyle Moore, who we expect to see there as a manager this year, was a coach on that team. Blaine Beatty, Joel Polanco has helped out too. So, I mean, a lot of great names from that team. And so for me, that was one of the most fun nights I've ever had in the sport of baseball.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, it was the same for me. It was only my second year in Bowie, but a lot of people that work for the Baysox in a full-time capacity have been there a lot longer than what you usually see in baseball. So their general manager, Brian Shellcross, assistant general manager, Phil Rye, and others, you're talking about a big group of people that have been with Bowie for double-digit years. And the Baysox had come close often. They had never won a playoff series before that season. I think they were 0-7. I mean, they'd lost in the semifinals 7 times, So for the Baysox in their 22nd season to win it all, it was really special. And I think it meant a lot to the Orioles too, because Double A is a really important level. You can argue that it's the most important level. Your prospects usually spend more time at Double A than any other place. And the most important thing for Baltimore that came out of that season was the rise of Trey Mancini. No doubt about it. Going from a non-prospect to a dominant player. And we see what he's become as a big leaguer.
Yep, you could feel it in that series. Guys like Mancini and Yaz, they wanted it, and they got it. In 2015, the Baysox Eastern League champs. And so let's do that again sometime down the road at Prince George's Stadium.
That would be wonderful, and it would be kind of coming full circle if Kyle Moore is able to do it next year, because once again he was kind of the assistant and in training in a way to becoming a minor league manager when he was with Bowie in 2015. Who better to learn under than guys like Gary Kendall and and that crew. and Alan
Got it.
Mills and the like. And now, of course, here he is, and that he's going to, almost certainly be the Bay Sox manager in 2022, and that's exciting.
Great memories, Adam. Thanks for taking some time today.
Thanks so much, Steve.